Howdy y'all, and welcome back to Hills and Hollers. Today, we're buzzing with excitement, literally, because we're diving into the wonderful world of honeybees. Beekeeping is one of the oldest and most rewarding practices you can add to your homestead. It combines hard work, nature, and sweet rewards, offering a connection to the land that's hard to match. Before we begin, let's take a step back and reflect on why honeybees are so important. These little creatures are responsible for much more than the honey in your pantry. They're essential to our food supply, our ecosystems, and even our understanding of teamwork and resilience. Honeybees are nature's most tireless workers, and by keeping a hive, you're not just benefiting yourself, you're contributing to something much larger. If this is your first time considering beekeeping, don't worry. It's normal to feel a little overwhelmed. After all, you're dealing with thousands of buzzing, stinging insects. But trust me, by the end of this video, you'll feel confident and excited to take your first steps into beekeeping. I'll walk you through the basics of honeybee biology, the tools you'll need, how to start your first hive, and more. I've included links to some fantastic resources in the description. Whether you're looking for books to deepen your knowledge or tools to get started, you'll find everything you need to begin your beekeeping journey. Honeybees are incredible creatures, and before you start keeping them, it's worth understanding just how vital they are to our world. Let's start with their role in agriculture. Honeybees pollinate about 75% of the crops we eat. Without them, our diets would look dramatically different, less colorful, less nutritious, and a whole lot less sweet. Imagine a world without apples, blueberries, almonds, or coffee. That's what we'd face without pollinators like honeybees. But honeybees don't just work for us. They're essential to ecosystems too. By transferring pollen from one flower to another, they help wild plants reproduce, ensuring that meadows, forests, and other habitats remain vibrant and diverse. This in turn supports countless other species, from birds to mammals, that rely on those plants for food and shelter. Now, let's dive into the hive itself. A single honeybee colony can contain up to 60,000 bees at its peak. It's like a tiny city, with every bee playing a specific role. At the center of it all is the queen. She's the heart of the hive, laying up to 2,000 eggs a day during the busy season. The worker bees, all female, handle everything else: cleaning, foraging, caring for the young, building comb, and even regulating the hive's temperature. Then there are the drones, the male bees whose sole purpose is to mate with a queen from another colony. Once they've fulfilled their role, they're expelled from the hive to conserve resources. It's a tough life for the drones, but it ensures the survival of the colony. One of my favorite honeybee behaviors is the waggle dance. When a worker bee finds a good source of nectar, she returns to the hive and performs a little dance to tell the other bees where to go. The angle and duration of the waggle communicate the direction and distance of the flowers. It's like a GPS system, but way more adorable. Before you dive into beekeeping, take some time to prepare yourself. This isn't just a hobby, it's a responsibility. You'll be caring for thousands of living creatures that rely on you for their survival. That might sound daunting, but with the right preparation, you'll be ready to handle it. The first step is education. There's a lot to learn about honeybees, from their biology to their behaviors, and how to manage a hive effectively. Fortunately, there are fantastic resources available. I highly recommend starting with Beekeeping for Dummies by Howland Blackiston. Don't let the title fool you. This book is packed with practical, easy-to-follow advice. It covers everything from setting up your first hive to troubleshooting common problems. You can find the link in the description below. Another excellent resource is The Backyard Beekeeper by Flottum. This book dives deeper into sustainable beekeeping practices, making it perfect for those who want to keep bees in harmony with nature. And for those who prefer hands-on learning, The Beekeeper's Handbook by Sammataro offers step-by-step guidance for every stage of beekeeping, from starting your hive to harvesting honey. Beyond books, consider joining a local beekeeping club or taking a workshop. These provide invaluable opportunities to learn from experienced keepers, ask questions, and even observe hives in action. Many clubs also offer mentor programs, pairing beginners with seasoned beekeepers who can guide them through their first year. It's also worth thinking about your goals. Are you keeping bees for honey, for pollination, as a business venture? Your reasons will shape how you approach beekeeping, from the type of hive you choose to how you manage your colony. Take some time to reflect on why you're drawn to this practice and what you hope to achieve. Now that you're prepared, it's time to get your bees. This is one of the most exciting parts of starting your beekeeping journey, but it can also feel overwhelming. There are 3 main ways to acquire a colony: purchasing a package of bees, buying a nucleus colony, or NUC, and catching a swarm. Let's start with package bees. This is the most common method for beginners. A package typically includes around 10,000 worker bees and 1 queen. They come in a screened box with a can of sugar syrup to keep them fed during transport. When you bring them home, you'll introduce them to your hive, and they'll get to work building comb and establishing their colony. Packages are relatively affordable and widely available, making them an excellent choice for first-time beekeepers. If you're looking for a head start, consider buying a nucleus colony, or nuke. A nuke is like a mini hive that's already established. It includes a queen, workers, and a few frames of brood, honey, and pollen. This gives you a fully functioning colony from day 1, which can save time and effort. Nukes are more expensive than packages, but they're worth it if you want to hit the ground running. And then there's swarm catching. This method is as thrilling as it sounds. A swarm occurs when a colony becomes overcrowded, prompting a group of bees to leave in search of a new home. If you can locate a swarm, you can capture it and give it a safe place to settle. Swarms are free and full of energy, but catching one requires skill and confidence. If this sounds like something you'd like to try, I highly recommend reading the Beekeeper's Handbook, which includes a detailed section on swarm catching. No matter which method you choose, it's important to source your bees responsibly. Look for local suppliers who prioritize the health and genetics of their bees. Local bees are better adapted to your area's climate and conditions, which increases their chances of thriving. Avoid purchasing bees from unknown sources, as they may carry diseases or have weakened genetics. Now that you've got your bees, it's time to set up their new home. Think of the hive as the foundation of your beekeeping journey. It's where your bees will build their colony, store their honey, and raise their young. Getting this setup right is crucial for your success. The Langstroth hive is the most popular choice among modern beekeepers. It's a modular system made up of stackable boxes, called supers, which hold removable frames. This design allows you to inspect your hive, harvest honey, and manage your bees with minimal disruption. You can start with just a few boxes and expand as your colony grows. When assembling your hive, don't forget to paint the exterior with a weatherproof, non-toxic paint. This helps protect the wood from the elements. Stick to light colors as they reflect heat and keep the hive cooler during the summer. Inside the hive, you'll need to install foundation sheets onto your frames. These give your bees a head start by providing a template for building comb. Now, let's talk about location. Bees are sensitive to their environment, so choose your hive placement carefully. A sunny spot with good airflow is ideal. Morning sunlight helps wake up the bees and gets them foraging earlier in the day. At the same time, you'll want some shade during the hottest hours to prevent overheating. If possible, place your hive near a tree line or a fence to shield it from strong winds. Water is another critical factor. Bees use water to cool the hive and dilute honey for feeding their young. A nearby water source, like a shallow dish with pebbles, ensures they don't have to travel far to find it. Just make sure the water is clean and easily accessible. Finally, elevate your hive on a sturdy stand. This keeps it off the ground, protecting it from moisture, pests, and predators, like skunks and raccoons. It also makes inspections more comfortable for you, saving your back from unnecessary strain. If you're unsure where to start, check out the Langstroth Hive starter kits linked in the description. They come with everything you need to get up and running. Beekeeping is a year-round responsibility, with each season bringing its own set of tasks and challenges. Let's walk through what you can expect during each phase of the year. In spring, as the weather warms, your hive will begin to wake up. The queen starts laying eggs, and the colony grows rapidly. This is a critical time to inspect your hive regularly, about every 7 to 10 days. Look for signs of a healthy queen, such as eggs and larvae, and make sure the workers are building comb and storing nectar. Feeding may be necessary if early spring flowers are scarce. A simple sugar syrup, made from 1 part sugar to 1 part water, provides the energy your bees need to get started. This is also the season to watch for signs of swarming. Swarming occurs when the colony becomes overcrowded, and half the bees leave to start a new hive. While swarming is natural, it's something you want to manage. Adding extra supers or splitting your hive can help prevent it. Summer is when the hive hits its peak activity. Worker bees are busy foraging, building comb, and storing honey. During this time, you'll focus on ensuring your colony stays healthy and productive. Keep an eye out for pests like varroa mites and small hive beetles, which can wreak havoc if left unchecked. You'll also need to monitor your honey supers. As the frames fill with honey, you can add more boxes to give the bees room to store their bounty. Regular inspections are crucial, but be gentle and efficient. The less you disturb the hive, the better. In fall, as the days grow shorter, the bees begin preparing for winter. The queen slows her egg laying, and the colony reduces its size to conserve resources. Your job is to help them get ready for the cold months ahead. Ensure they have enough honey stored, about 50 to 60 pounds for a healthy hive, and reduce the size of the hive if necessary to keep it insulated. This is also the time to install entrance reducers, which help keep out cold drafts and unwanted visitors like mice. If your region has harsh winters, consider wrapping your hive with breathable insulation for extra protection. Winter is the most challenging season for bees. They cluster together in the hive, using their body heat to maintain a temperature of about 90 degrees Fahrenheit around the queen. Your role during this time is minimal but important. Monitor the hive for signs of moisture buildup, which can be deadly. If necessary, add a moisture-absorbing quilt box, or place an empty super filled with straw on top of the hive. Supplemental feeding may also be needed if their honey stores run low. Sugar cakes or fondant are excellent winter feed options. Avoid disturbing the hive unless absolutely necessary, as opening it can let out precious heat. One of the biggest challenges in beekeeping is managing pests and diseases. Honeybees face threats from a variety of sources, and it's up to you to keep them safe. The varroa mite is perhaps the most notorious pest. These tiny parasites latch onto bees and feed on their fat stores, weakening them and spreading diseases. Entrances should be reduced during vulnerable seasons to limit access for unwanted guests. Diseases like American foul brood and chalk brood are also serious concerns. American foul brood is highly contagious and requires immediate intervention, often involving the destruction of infected frames. Chalk brood, on the other hand, is less severe, but can weaken the colony if left untreated. Recognizing the symptoms of these diseases and acting quickly is essential to maintaining a healthy hive. The moment you've been waiting for, harvesting honey. There's nothing quite like pulling a frame from your hive and seeing it glistening with golden capped honey. It's a sticky, messy process, but the rewards are worth every drop. To harvest honey, you'll need a bee smoker, a hive tool, and an extractor. Begin by using the smoker to calm the bees. This masks their alarm pheromones, making them less likely to sting. Carefully remove the frames filled with capped honey and brush off any lingering bees. Once you've collected your frames, you'll use an extractor to spin the honey out of the comb. Let the honey settle for a day or two to allow any air bubbles or impurities to rise to the top. Then bottle it up. But honey isn't the only product your hive has to offer. Beeswax can be turned into candles, lip balms, and salves. Propolis, a resin-like substance bees collect from trees, has medicinal properties, and is sought after by herbalists. And don't forget about royal jelly, a nutrient-rich secretion used to feed queen larvae. It's prized in skincare and supplements. Beekeeping isn't just rewarding, it can also be profitable. Raw honey is always in demand, especially if it's local and unfiltered. You can sell it at farmers markets, local shops, or even online. Infused honeys, like lavender or cinnamon, are a great way to offer something unique and increase your profits. Beeswax products, such as candles, lip balms, and furniture polish, are another excellent source of income. If you're feeling creative, you can even make handcrafted soaps or cosmetics. Farmers often pay beekeepers to place hives on their property during bloom season, ensuring their crops are well pollinated. If you have multiple hives, this can become a significant revenue stream. If you're ready to take your beekeeping knowledge to the next level, check out the books I mentioned earlier. Beekeeping for Dummies, The Backyard Beekeeper, and The Beekeeper's Handbook are all excellent resources that will guide you through every stage of your journey. I've included links in the description for easy access. Well, folks, that's everything you need to know about setting up, caring for, and profiting from a honeybee hive. Beekeeping is a journey filled with challenges and rewards, and there's no better time to start than now. Thanks for tuning in to Hills and Hollers. If you've got questions, stories, or tips, drop them in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more homesteading adventures. Until next time, stay sweet and keep buzzing.